Greetings and salutations, everyone. I'm Mac. This is a stream, and you know how things are. This is Final Fantasy Dawntrail, and last week I promised that we would hang out with Nashu. So let's hang out with Nashu in Wizened Testimony. Nashu Makarika's expression is equal parts consternation and anticipation. I should probably shut this door. Yours truly, I presume. Hang on, what did she say? Ibuki, here to help again, are you? As things stand, I'm still waiting on word from yours truly, I presume. Since parting ways, I've searched every alley and dive bar and ever keep for signs of this Hildibrand character. It's pronounced Hildibrand. Well, however you say it, he was nowhere to be found. Oh, where could the inspector be? Chin up, dollface. The case ain't over yet. I always get my man. When the trail goes cold, the trick is to go back to the beginning. I want you to tell me the whole story again and leave nothing out, no matter how unimportant it might seem. Flashback. Or rather, flash forward to after the story is done. So you followed rumors of the flying disc which nabbed your friend, and that led you to the place it most likely crashed down. Ear. You also think it was caught inside the dome when it appeared, and from your perspective, went through 30 years in the blink of an eye. Sounds like crazy talk. But I've seen enough strangeness in my line of work that I've learned to give the clients the benefit of the doubt. It seems we've got no leads on the man himself. I say we try jogging memories about the shiny starship instead. We'll want to question older people native to your world who might have witnessed the original crash landing 30 years ago. Folks that age seem to enjoy parks, like the one outside the residential radii. Let's go. Alright, where's the closest... We'll want to go to the information center. Oh! I don't think I've ever grabbed this lookout spot. True view. Hang on. Discord ping. That means that I need to set it to Do Not Disturb for reasons. No, that one does look familiar to me, huh? The design's current name is based on the popular idea only those who gather in its back alley streets see the truth of the world. Its official name has seemingly long since fallen out of use. You know, I actually titled the stream in order for what I expected to be the trial run, but as it is, I then remembered, wait, we're here to play with Nashu. What a lovely place to interrogate our elders. Old timers aplenty, as promised. Pick a prune and get to it. Oh, I still have that illustration I lent you last time. Showing it around might help nudge some ancient noggins. I added a sketch of the inspector's face to make things even easier. I have another copy for myself, but that only makes 2. Ibuki, you and Detective Hardy Boyle will have to share. We are talking 3 decades ago, so having a picture should come in handy. Even if the dame's work is on the same level as a finger-painting toddler's magnum opus. Ibuki, was it? Well, you let me know when you're ready to bother some park goers. An illustration of a starship clipped from the Thavnarian Truth. The picture has been enhanced with a hand-drawn portrait of Inspector Hildibrand. Includes a portrait of Inspector Hildibrand drawn by Nashu's well-meaning hand. Right, let's start showing that picture around then. Keep an eye out for Oda Hyun and Hetsaru that might have hailed from outside the dome. Oh, and don't forget the Shatona. If Hildibrand does look like me, I look forward to meeting him in the flesh, if only to see if the resemblance is more than skin deep. It's skin deep, trust me. May I help you? I'm sorry, but 30 years ago I was practically an infant, far too young to remember much of anything. Unfortunately, that picture is very cute though. Did your child draw it for you? Unfortunately, he did have the quest marker over his head, so he still had to do something about it. Gotta make the most of my day off. What can this old lady do for you? "30 years ago? I honestly don't recall. My memories of that time are faded at best, my dears. That is a lovely drawing of you though, sir. Really captures your essence. That slack-jawed mutt, you gotta be kidding me." Oh hello, we have a thought bubble over here. Just leave me be, I got absolutely fleeced today. Vending machines caught your eye? Yeah, you could buy yourself a coffee or an energy drink, but luxuries like that make you soft. When I'm alone, walking through the darkest, dingiest parts of the city, I need something as weary and weathered as I am. I'll stick to my egg, thanks. Even though... Hang on, we have to talk to Nashu about this. That would have been 30 years ago, but did you happen to see a flying craft like the one in this picture? What would you be wanting with me then? Can't say as I'm familiar with it. But I do remember things 3 decades ago when I was still in the bloom of middle age. Say, I remember you, the clever git who took me back me furball tonic from that thieving war son. That was a good bit of sleuthing, that was. No need for all that. Was just doing my job. Sorry to see that the tonic didn't do its job though. It's not about growing me hair back. It's about the routine, about 40 years of massaging my scalp and basking in the same fragrant aromas every morning. Doesn't feel right to start the day without it. 40 years of using a Never Keep Made product? That's right. You're Alexandrian, born and bred, same as me. There's no way you could have seen the starship we're after. Sorry to bother you, sir. Well, no one said it would be easy dredging up eyewitness accounts from so long ago. This is where grit and persistence comes into it. I spied a Shatona fella headed toward the 914 radius. Hard to guess his age with how long they live, but who knows, maybe we'll get lucky this time. He looks like the freaking Terminator when he's running from the back. Lovely day, isn't it? I'm not sure I recognize the man. Hard to tell with such a simple drawing. Forget about the drawing. We're more interested in what you know about the flying disc. Ah, the craft I do recall seeing. When I yet felt the sun upon my face, I was living a very different kind of life at the time. It was during a hunt that I spotted it. Flying machines were a rare sight even back then, so I remember it well even now. And do you remember where it was headed? It appeared to crash somewhere in Uiawata, to the north. I was of a mind to seek out the wreckage, but then the dome suddenly appeared and I had far stranger things to worry about. There, what did I tell you? Let's go find your pal Nashu and share the good news. Seems to know anything about the starship. Did you fare any better? So it came down somewhere near this Uera Yukata place. I don't suppose either of you have been there before? That is the dungeon that was gating our progress. It's the one with the monster carbuncle at the end of it. A research facility, I say. If some unidentified shiny object fell from the sky nearby, then I'd wager there are people soon scooped it up. Seems we have our destination, but how to get across the lake? We could take a hover cargo. That we could. The Reforgers have a few, and I happen to know one of an accommodating disposition. Right, that's our transportation sorted. What I'm stuck on, though, is how you've already been to this Uiawata place when I'm only just learning how such a place even existed. What's your deal anyway? I'm Ibuki, Agent of Adventure. You adventure for a living, is that it? Well, it's clear you're no fresh-faced mook. Let's press on with the investigation. My Reforger friend should have all the cargo waiting for us at the Drift Downs. I better pack a dose of Nashu's delights. Those explosive yours, leave them behind. Don't need no dizzy dame blowing herself up on my watch. Or me, for that matter. She's not going to listen though, is she? We already know Nashu. Speak with the accommodating Reforger at Drift Downs. So let's see. Maybe I should have clicked on it first to see where it was on the map. Oh man, which Final Fantasy was this battle theme from? I want to say 9, but I could always be wrong. Oh, that's a big worry lake! This is the forger pal I was telling you about. She keeps tabs on the heritage found scene and was big up when I needed information for a case that spilled outside of Everkeep. I hear you need a transport to Iwata. The hover cargo is ready if you are. Actually, why do I have my Disgaea 2 feed on? I'm not playing Disgaea 2. This place is a mess, but I don't see any monsters roaming the halls at least. Should be safe to split up and have a look around. Oh wait, I should have talked to Nashu first. A lot of people being pickled in here, but Hildibrand isn't among them. Speaking of which, did you see where Detective Hardyboiled went? Skim through the various documents, you find one entitled Confidential Files Addendum 2. The hewn mail we extracted from the wreckage is of an abnormal specimen indeed. While physically unharmed and clear possession of a stole, he yet remains in a comatose state. The absence of any reaction to any and all external stimuli is indicative of a temporal stasis. Every method we have attempted, be it electric shock, a hot bath, or a sharp slap to the face, has failed to wake the subject. Is his remarkable corporeal fortitude an innate quality, or was it acquired without the aid of unknown technology? My enthusiasm for this research knows no bounds. He attracted yet another mad scientist. Unlocked cabinet drawer. Why didn't I see this on the way in? I was probably looking at Nashu at the time, actually. Shuffling through the various documents in the cabinet, you find one entitled Confidential Files Addendum 1. According to an associate native to these lands, the unidentified vessel we recovered near Iwata had flown into the region not long before the dome manifested. Their testimony was corroborated by a thorough examination of the wreckage, which yielded not a single sliver of electrope. The vessel was, without a doubt, manufactured using technology fundamentally unlike our own. This mystery was further compounded by the discovery of a hewn survivor within the craft. Despite the apparent force of the impact, the lone male occupant has sustained no visible injuries. Here we go, here's the final document. Actually, wait, maybe if we go ahead a bit further, we can talk to Inspector Hardyboiled before starting things off? Or maybe he's in one of the side passages that I wasn't looking at. Well, I guess we'll just go without. Okay, I will give credit. Cool lighting trick here. That is actually very cool lighting, so, can I... Maybe I should also give a small tweak to the... no, actually, now that I think about it, I don't want overlays doxing people when I'm online. The document held by the clipboard is entitled Confidential Files Addendum 3. I cannot understand the incalculable potential I see in our mystery subject. If we could but unlock the secret of his preternatural resilience, we would never need again risk the dangers inherent in the transfer of monstrous souls. While some of my colleagues insist that vivisection is our only recourse, such an extreme measure would mean forsaking the knowledge this might impart us regarding his equally intriguing flying vessel. For the time being, we've decided to suspend all research related to this subject. The specimen will be preserved in a biocapsule in Sector 51 and placed under the observation in hopes that he will one day regain consciousness. Oh, he was here, apparently. Maybe I just walked past him because he didn't have the text box over his head. Hey Bookie, sorry, something else in the records caught my attention. It led me to a different floor. Oh, that's why we couldn't meet him. I had to rustle up a verification key first, so I haven't spent any time on your Starship mystery. Did you turn up anything yet? They were keeping him in Sector 51. The key I found should let us access that area. Let's grab your pal Nashu and head there now. Do you think there's ever going to be a point where they start adding voice acting to these segments? Inspector Hildibrand, there you are! Of course. You two been yanking my chain. This clown doesn't look anything like me. Well, opinions aside, we've located our man. A hard-boiled egg would really hit the spot right now. Here, give this to the detective. It's another bomb, isn't it? They really like giving us these hardy-boiled cosplay scenes. Doesn't quite look right with her tail though, does it? But I suppose the other person I did this with was Makodi, so that would have had exactly the same problems anyway. From the lady. Appreciate it. Nashu made us an accomplice. I never could refuse the kindness of strangers. These punks must be feeling lucky. There is no need for firearms nor fisticuffs. I shall resolve this altercation in a manner that behooves a gentleman. Attention everyone, follow my lead if you please. Splendid, most splendid. Let us remember to always comport ourselves in a gentlemanly manner. It's so easy to forget that he does actually have control over zombie hordes for some reason. I fear I may have overslept a trifle. But I, Hildibrand, well rested, agent of inquiry, now stand before you bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. You know what? Fear of death actually fits. Never mind. By the by, who's this austere-looking fellow? A new admirer of mine, perhaps? This is Detective Honeyboiled, your soul twin from another world. Why, my dear Nashu, this man possesses no nary a speck of my singular aplomb. He does not resemble me in the slightest. I couldn't agree more. My sweet old grandmother has more grit in her pinky finger. That's odd. Maybe I need new glasses, but the two of you seem practically identical. The odd thing is how you look too damn young for a fellow who's been sleeping for 30 years. And don't get me started on a hard charm to those shambling corpses. What kind of crime against nature are you? The inspector has a very unique physique for one, and as for the zombies, he's had an excellent rapport with them ever since his brief stint as an undead overlord extraordinaire. That raises more questions than answers. Still, we can consider a missing person case closed. Which leaves me to chew on something else that caught my attention earlier. I smell a new case brewing, and I mean to follow my nose. You shouldn't have said that out loud. A case, you say? Then allow me to offer the services of Hildibrand, Inspector Extraordinaire. Undead Overlord seems more plausible to me at this juncture, but I'll bite. What does a fella like you even inspect? Impenetrable mysteries and unsolved cases, of course! So we're in the same business, eh? Makes me wonder how this gentleman act of yours actually helps get the job done. I too am curious to see if beneath that leathery gumshoe exterior you have the gumption to handle the truly difficult cases. The dame. She's your assistant? Loyal and steadfast. I had an assistant once. But now ain't the time to reminisce. We have a new case to work on. This'll be just the thing to prove your sleuthing chops, Inspector. Let's get it out of here and get down to brass tacks. It's weird that they say that they look nothing alike when they even have the same hairstyle. That's the part that really ties it together. Like, aside from the facial hair and the facial structure and all that, but They have the little bits of jewelry on the hair when they're staring each other down on both sides. It just... The only reason they say it is just because it's a hilarious joke, let's be fair. I always have a spare set of the inspector's clothes on hand. Hildibrand, Agent of Inquiry and Inspector Extraordinary, is up and full of beans! Detective Hardyboy's veteran nose has picked up the scent of a new case. The case of the Fiendish Fugitives! As I was saying, I got a whiff of a new case in the making. So listen up while I explain the particulars. You said you scoured this place top to bottom. You learned they were trying to stuff people's souls into monstrous hosts. But the facility was forced to close down before they managed any real success. Sound about right? I'm honestly not so sure about that. I think that the Tural Vidral may have been Gulujar's mother. It's a theory that was rattling around my head because it was confusing me why the echo would have triggered for the Tural Vidral that we were fighting. I'm guessing whatever incident turned the staff into walking corpses happened not long after. Here's where it gets interesting. According to the notes I found, one of the researchers survived and continued to work independently even after the project was mothballed. Apparently, he dismissed the Tural Vidral as impossible to control, and instead chose to pursue his research using less ornery beasts. Are you suggesting this mad scientist transferred his own soul into some slavering fiend? Nothing so mad as all that. No, he saved that honor for convicted criminals. Seems like he set up a fake rehabilitation program. Had the prisoners transferred, then yanked out their souls for use in his experiments. How awful! And what became of these now criminally minded creatures? That's the million-credit question. I tracked down the containment cell mentioned in the notes, but found the cages inside emptier than a bar's fly tumbler. Barfly's tumbler. Sorry, A little digging into the operations log showed that these cage locks were opened only recently, which means... We find ourselves on the case of the Fiendish Fugitives! We must seek out and apprehend these dastardly evildoers on the double! Yeah, there's a chance they're out there causing trouble. As a detective, I can't turn a blind eye when I suspect wrongdoing is afoot. Luckily, I also found a storage device that I figure belonged to the author of those research notes. It's pretty banged up, but I think the data might still be intact. Let's head back to Solution 9. I'll take this thing to my place in the recreation zone and see what I can recover. You know, it strikes me that the stream footage has a black border around it because I have room up here and down here for the taskbar, and I don't play on true full screen, I just maximize the windowed mode. It's a lot easier to work with because so many games will absolutely hate if you try to minimize a full screen game or just alt or tab over to something else. We've decided to keep the soldiers out here armed to drive away any wild beasts that wander too close to Everkeep. But seeing as people live in the area as well, we're taking turns patrolling it. We all have the code for emergency shutdown so we can handle any surprises. Visit detected. Verifying access rights. You have been granted unlimited access to Everkeep. Please proceed. That's an interesting little detail. I don't think I ever checked because I haven't tried to come in the front door during this arc. Oh hey, they pull us very close to the main scenario. That's exploitable. Why don't you have any safety railing here? You really should do something. I didn't think of searching to check whether this rotten little thing is here. I really need a punt the Lalafell emote. Right, I'll take a crack at this storage device. You're better off waiting outside. I'm not the kind of guy who makes his bed every morning, to say the least. Ah, dang it, I didn't talk to the duo! Darn it. I mean, I suppose I could always just close the game down so we can reset this cutscene. Okay, you know what, we'll do that. Oh wait, actually, it's probably pointless for me to block myself out like this because you can actually... Since you can look up people's characters and just go, yeah, that one seems about right if someone really wanted to stalk me. And let's be fair, I'm a very low-key streamer. No one's stalking me. I actually had to crop some of the crop 2 episodes because I realized with horror that it had very, very split-second showings of my desktop. But fortunately, YouTube editing allowed me to get rid of it pretty quickly. Okay, talk to Nashu and Hildibrand. Illusion Shine is a most impressive... Illusion Shine. Solution 9, you dingbat. Is a most impressive metropolis. Cool, I never noticed how far down it went. You need to install railings. Right, I'll take a crack at this storage device. Better off waiting outside. I'm not the kind of guy who makes his bed every morning, to say the least. Do you think I should get into the spirit of the event and to get a glamour of dressing up as Hildibrand? Well, the bad news is the device was even worse shape than I expected. It'll be a while yet before I can recover all its contents. A quick pass netted me some scraps though, enough to piece together a partial file on one of the experimental subjects. It states our surviving researcher stuck the soul of a career thief into the body of an Cyclops. This light-fingered fella didn't steal out of greed, but for the joy of pissing off his victims. Twisted guy like that ain't likely to change his stripes just because he switched bodies. Yes, 'tis all becoming clear to me! His intentions are obvious. Ambitious escapee will burgle the most prestigious jewelry store in the city! As soft-boiled a guess as any I've heard. Your instincts are way off, pal. Never seen an Cyclops before, have ya? If one of those big brutes was lumbering through the streets, then all we'd have to do is follow the screams. No, if he's plotting a heist, it'll involve a target outside Everkeep. And he won't be aiming to pilfer any old supply crate neither, but something that'd really cause a nuisance. Electrope. Alexandria's got a habit that only that miraculous ore can satisfy. We need to hustle to the quarry outside. No, I mean now. It's one thing to get upstaged by an Elysian inspector, but it's an entirely different thing when it's a version of yourself that's just better at everything. I finally got my hands on a neo-regulator, then came this close to crashing into a hover cargo. The day I can become endless can't come soon enough. I only hope that I live that long. You head into the back room. Targeted tragedy. Share wishes for a moment of your time. If you have a moment, Ibuki, Geode wants to take stock of the current crisis. Oblivion might be lacking the finer details in certain areas, so we'd like you to lend your perspective to the conversation. I have bad news for that. I'm a silent protagonist. I can't lend my opinion on things. Sorry to drag you into our meeting, but we need to get a better handle on the threats Alexandria is facing right now. Not at all. Much has happened since the state funeral, and a clearer idea of where things stand would be beneficial for us as well. First things first, let's discuss the state of the machine malfunctions. Every single sector reported instances of sentries attacking citizens without provocation, and vehicles suddenly becoming unresponsive to controls. And while these malfunctions were resolved fairly and quickly, they nevertheless resulted in considerable numbers of injuries and deaths. But you haven't heard about any new incidents since then, right? Right, no additional reports have been logged as far as I know. That's the good news. The bad news is, I tried to take control of the soldiers when they started hurting people, but they wouldn't listen to me, even though I have the king's authority. Once things calmed down, I was able to make them give up their weapons, but if it happens again, I don't know if they'll ignore me like before. The king of Resolve's authority is about the highest there is. Who is this man who can override it with such impunity? Calyx. He lived in the age of the Storm Surge as I did. Lest you forget, he was known for his advancements in electrobe technology. It was he who established preservation for the sole purpose of furthering his research. The wasting disease which afflicted him, however, was said to leave him with scant years left to live. He must have chosen to undergo conversion into an endless that he might continue his efforts into the present day. Preservation's goals seemed noble enough. Early goals seemed noble enough, exploring treatments for living sickness, designing Everkeep's core systems, that sort of thing. Why arm the people he was ostensibly trying to help? I do not pretend I fully understand Calyx's motivations, only that he appears to be incensed by what he saw as mankind's failings. He asserted the strategy of adapting our species through generational succession was outdated, that evolution now requires us to forsake bodies of flesh in favor of eternal preservation. We've already seen how he's employed the simulant to convince Alexandrians that endless conversion is their only hope for survival. Eternal life is assured for the 5,000 who register their neo-regulators. But this is merely one part of Calyx's greater plan. He wants the key to interdimensional fusion. With that relic in his possession, he will draw ether from the reflections and expand his efforts to create endless 1,000-fold. If we mean to foil Calyx's schemes, then our only option is to determine where he's hiding and put him down. Which unfortunately is easier said than done. I've been scouring the terminal we found in the depths of Etherkeep, but have failed to uncover even the slightest trace of his activities. Give me a little more time though, and I'm sure I can sniff him out. I'll help you! While Golujai and Shayla are working on that, I think I'm going to take a look around town. I want to make sure no new problems have cropped up, as well as search for any information that might lead us to Calyx. You're welcome to come along. Another malfunction could happen at any time, and I'd be glad to have some brawlers at my back. Count me in. Raha and the others are helping Oblivion patrol the other levels of the keep, so shall we stick to the streets of Solution 9? Sounds like a plan. Thanks, you two. I appreciate the company. I have to speak with the city's administrators about bringing in the Lance Guard. I want our soldiers around to protect those who are moving to Duliolo. Alphano and Alisei will be joining me for the meeting, so the three of us can cover that sector as soon as we're done. If I may, I'd like to join Ibuki's group if you'll have me. The more mouths to ask questions, the merrier, as long as you're aware of the dangers. Thank you, I'll do my best not to be a burden. I'm more worried about you, Geo. Don't do anything stupid. Pfft, you'll change your tune once we get back with the goods on Calyx. Then the drinks are on you. Come on, let's continue this outside. The problem is I didn't take morning medication, so my ADHD is just going, ooh shiny, I can do this quest. Ooh shiny. The city looks as though it's regained a sense of normalcy. Alas, the people will not soon forget recent events. I will do my best to ensure the happiness of Alexandria and its people. Oh! Excuse me, I'm trying to focus. I didn't realize it was you. I was waiting for an image to come to me, you see, that I might paint it upon the canvas before me. Perhaps I should simply give form to the inspiration you gave me in our battle, though I dare say a single wall will not suffice. Sorry, I was off in my own little world. Shall we get started? Are you alright, Geo? Me? I'm well enough given the circumstances. It was the Queen's fondest wish that her subjects remain shielded from the horrors of death. So they were for the longest time. Then, the moment mortality once again becomes an unavoidable fact of life, they're greeted with an outbreak of bloody violence. Many are bound to give the endless alternatives serious consideration. Indeed, and I do not blame them for that. It's only natural that such thoughts should come to mind. What I cannot forgive is the way Calyx feels fear and misery to manipulate people into making that choice. No one, nor Calyx nor anyone else, should dictate how we cope with the spectre of death. As one who lived as an Alexandrian, I wish to put the choices for this country's future back into the hands of its citizens. And you think you can handle that responsibility after everything you've seen of us? It is what I've seen that has convinced me you can. I woke 4 centuries later to find our people living and laughing beneath Alexandria's banner. Though surprised and bewildered, I was overjoyed to see it, so you all deserve to be happy. Well then. We'd best not let you down. Now I suggest we move as a group. We don't know if or when a battle might find us. Oh, I believe someone came prepared for just an eventuality. Is that the grimoire you retrieved from the old castle? Yes, my parents gifted it to me when I was a child. They were adamant that I should learn to protect the things important to me. I was fortunate enough to have a tutor in the arcane arts, so I lay claim to some small measure of skill. If that's the case, it would be better if we split into 2 groups after all. It would certainly be more efficient for information gathering. I guess that makes sense. The 2 of you can take the west side of the recreation zone then. Buki and I will take the east. Very well, we shall end our patrol in the plaza just past True View and wait you there. Shouldn't it be the other? Shouldn't we pick a different combination so we have a magic user and a physical DPS damage in each team? Oh, whatever. Let's do the rounds then. We'll see what's what and chat to the people we meet along the way. Pay special attention to anyone who looks overwhelmed or overly excited. Hopefully that'll earn us a tidbit or 2 we didn't know before. Also, Sugar Riot is over there. We had a talk with her earlier. And that disquieted citizen has things to say. Are the sentries and wheel is safe to be around now? I just know it's going to happen again, and maybe next time I'll be the one who dies in a horrible accident. I need a neo-regulator. Becoming endless is the only way. Even Queen Fiend said so. Ah, the memories. I used to drink round here all the time. Made sure not to overdo it when I had work the next day, but once we were past the busy season, or when the ladies weren't amenable to my company, well, you'd have to scrape me off the street outside in the morning or afternoon. The worst I ever got on was on what should have been the worst day of my life. If only I could remember it. I was still wearing a regulator back then. It was also the day I first met Shale, though I guarantee she's forgotten it completely. He doesn't even remember who died. You want to hear my story? While I appreciate you offering a sympathetic ear, there's not much to tell. If you must know, a good friend of mine died when those machines went crazy. His air wheeler dropped right out of the sky, and he didn't survive the crash. Damn fool wasn't wearing a regulator. I know that's not so strange these days, but I'd never bothered with one. He was at peace with the idea of dying someday, and I thought I understood what that meant. Until it happened. Why do we have a light-hearted citizen here? What has me in such a fine mood, you might ask? Well, I've just registered my new regulator. I was I was leery of becoming nothing but memories at first, but now that I've gone through with the registration, I've never felt more at ease. Also, once it was done, the regulator displayed the current numbers of the 5,000 slots available. Over 3,800 have already been filled. So if you're still hesitant, you've not much time to make up your mind. Mark my words, friend, when there's only a few slots, it's going to get very ugly. Ibuki, a word. I feel like there was a new fact in these stories we've heard, one we hadn't considered during our discussion with everyone in the back room. That a victim of violence wasn't wearing a regulator? Yeah, that's it. The vast majority of residents have always worn regulators, so it's not a detail we'd normally think about. With the supply of souls cut off though, more and more people have been going without them. We need to look into the casualties from recent attacks and check whether or not they were equipped with regulators. Let's ask round the street over to the east. It was pretty chaotic at the time, but maybe we'll find eyewitnesses who can help us confirm if this was a pattern or not. Maybe at some point I should go talk to that grief-stricken Shatona just to know what part of the story he's supposed to be for. It was once my good job to deliver goods by overcargo. That's why I know a fair number of names and faces throughout the city. The little ones would jump for joy when I brought them packages, the old lady would greet me with a smile. I'd hate for anything bad to happen to him. Hello, how are you today? Please let me know if I may be of service. Citywide casualty data unavailable. Government officials are currently processing reports from all affected zones. Can you narrow it down to the creation zone? They must have some estimates on hand. Recalibrating parameters. Injured 37 casualties. 37 individuals. Casualties 19 individuals. Casualties are equipped with regulators 0. You wish to know if the people who died in the machine rampage were wearing regulators? I'm sorry, but I was assisted to clearing away debris. I didn't see any of the deceased. No bodies were present by the time I arrived, so I assumed the ushers had already done their work. I do remember there being patches of white dust scattered about that were quite a chore to clean up, but nothing else worthy of mention. Ibuki, I think it's time we rejoined Cryo and Sphene. I was half joking with my boaster shield, but we may have stumbled across something major here. We should share our findings and keep pursuing this avenue of inquiry. Didn't Cryo say to meet him in the plaza just outside of Trueview? Let's get going. So, essentially you're saying that the people who were killed by malfunctioning machines weren't wearing regulators? Well, the numbers are still tentative, but and only apply to that one zone. We don't know how they'll stack up against the overall data, but this is definitely more than a coincidence. I think it's safe to say that anyone who had removed the regulator was a priority target. Now that you mention it, the person I was treating for injuries wasn't wearing one either. But why? Why are they being targeted over everyone else? Based solely on the lack of a neo-regulator, we cannot judge if a person has no desire to become endless or if they simply failed to acquire one due to the limited devices. But those who wear no regulator at all, they have clearly rejected the old system of using souls to revive themselves. Put another way, they have chosen to live their lives in knowledge that death is an inevitability. The chances that such resolute people would wish to become endless are far lower, I would imagine. And so Calyx has chosen those least likely to accept his vision as victims to instoke fear and panic. But there was no need to kill anyone. With the way things were, the people were already fearful enough. He could have found 5,000 willing citizens without all this madness. You make a good point. Perhaps this sowing of terror is in service to another scheme, or he had some other need for the lives he's taken. What of the dust found at various sites? Right, the sanitation worker's story. She saw no bodies, but mentioned piles of white dust. Dust, but no bodies. Now, where have I heard that before? Do you recall when we went to save Erenville from the sentries in the outskirts? That Asha Malachite told us much the same thing. When I arrived, I found no body, only a pile of dust which the wind quickly scattered. Confused, I questioned the residents, but no one knew what had become of it. That both stories speak of missing remains is suspicious enough, but the shared mention of this dust is too much to ignore. In that case, we should confirm if this substance was present at other sites and attempt to ascertain its nature. Following this thread may lead us not only to an explanation for the missing bodies, but also the intent behind Calyx's murderous actions. Ibuki, we need your help! I've lost control over the soldiers in the residential area. They might be trying to hurt people again. Oblivion members are on the way now, but are you close enough to join them? Damn it, our new investigation will have to wait. Let's go!
Stay back! Stay away from me!
Leave him alone!
Are you all right?
What happened here?
A sentry walked into my apartment, even though I'd locked the door and everything. I managed to run, but the man who tried to save me...
No weapons, which is to be expected, considering all the sentries were meant to be disarmed. Yet it was ordered to attack all the same, even if that meant using its bare hands.
I'll leave matters here to you. I'm going to do a sweep of the surrounding area.
know anyone else in this sector who no longer wears a regulator?
Oh, I don't think I've seen Isadora and her boy with theirs recently.
Go to them, quickly!
I'll be fine. But Isadora's in bad shape. Mother, please.
Isadora! Oh, thank goodness. She wasn't struck anywhere vital.
I'm sorry. If only I'd gotten here sooner.
Everything will be all right. I promise to make your mother better.
Thank you, miss. Will she sleep like that forever?
No, not forever. She'll wake soon, I'm sure of it.
That's good to hear. Thank you for saving her.
I wonder if you have a healer equipped, if it'll also show your character helping out with the healing. Ah, there we go. Drop the title, Promise of Tomorrow. So for all that, we only just got the intro card. Dramatic music time. She should recover in due course. I'm glad we arrived when we did. Oh wait, don't look at other people. When I was sick and couldn't move, my mother was always at my side, always keeping me company. I'm going to do the same for her. Forgive me, I was reckless. You shouldn't have to waste time tending my wounds as well. Did you see our other comrade back there? He stayed behind in the lobby, but I heard sounds of fighting. I'm sorry. He must have fallen protecting the residents. Wayawakwe is fearful for her comrade, the Endless Choice. Our comrade, you think he may have been struck down? If he is wounded or worse, I should go to him. Wait, please, it isn't safe and you still need rest. Would you stay with Milos and watch over Isadora for me? We will tend to your friend. Thank you. Please be careful. Yourself. So many people rushing in because they're probably doing the main scenario saying, hey, this is Endless Fiend saying, yes, this is the boy that I like to look after because he's currently suffering liver sickness. Meanwhile, we're here seeing them almost dying to robot attacks. Why, what is this happening? That man, this is awful. Isadora is going to be alright then. I'm so glad. I've just finished my ministrations here. Our Oblivion comrade was beyond saving, I'm afraid. That brave soul, he gave his life to save another. He died protecting me. I don't understand why any of this is happening. That sentry was behaving normally like any other. Then all of a sudden it tried to kill me. Weapons or no, Calyx commanded them to commit murder. Oh, is it over? We came as soon as Wayakwi sent word. I'm sorry, by the time we arrived it was already too late. Then Geode could be in trouble too. Once we have this radius locked down, we need to find him. But why? Has something happened? Possibly. We're not sure what, but he stopped responding to our communications. We need to prioritize securing this residential sector though, at least until we regain control over the sentries. Then we should search for Geode. I agree, since most Oblivion members have sworn off regulators, if our theory holds true, they could be the prime targets for the next attack. Please do whatever you can to shepherd the residents to safety, but avoid the sentries at all costs. Thanks. Here, take these communicators. We've made modifications to them to prevent Calyx from intercepting the signal, and have been using them to coordinate movements with allies in the vicinity. Wayakwi has one too, so I'll ask her to keep hailing Geode. Good luck and stay safe! Geode said he would sweep the surrounding area, so he shouldn't have ventured too far. Let's get going. Earlier today, I was actually watching a random chit-chat streamer, Arrow Rights, and they actually had thoughts about the Petra Parker thing, that trend that's going on. Please, Geode, please be safe. Mainly that, yeah, it's an art trend. It'll be big for a while, but eventually it'll fade off and it'll just be something that a few people specialize in. And I suppose that's fair. You see no sign of Geode. Perhaps you should search further to the east. But there was also a point of saying, yeah, the thing is, they've made it a bit too easy compared with how most people that transition. And there are more interesting ways you can do it. Let's search around the apartments first. You see no sign of Geode. Wayakwi's voice crackles forth from the communicator. Geode! Geode, answer me! There is no response. Perhaps you should continue your search further to the east. Like, the things that make it more interesting are generally other characters' interactions with it. It makes it... Yeah, fair enough. It's more just drawing it for the sake of drawing it is okay, no real thoughts on it. It's when you add interactions with other characters, or specifically being Spider-Man/woman, such as, what if it has weird interactions with that spider DNA, because female spiders are bigger and have a tendency to eat their partners after, as Arrow puts it, hanky-panky. Which means that, and someone actually took that to be someone actually integrated that into one of their comics in a Mary MJ saying, I didn't know you were into biting, and Petra says, I didn't know either. But also what if it ends up going the other way and makes Petra Parker bigger? And less likely to pass. Anyway, you see no sign of Geode. The neighbouring residential radius would be the next logical place to look.
This is the only place left. Let them be safe.
Geode, are you there? Answer me, please!
I'm here. Sorry for the long silence. I've been busy.
Oh, you're alive! Thank the gods! Where are you now?
The radius next door. The lobby is secure. I'll scout the second floor. Then I'll join it. Dust.
Dust? What are you talking about? What's happening?
They're not just collecting souls. They're draining the bodies of corporeal ether. The dust that we saw was all that was left of the victims. They must have modified the soul cells. Shit.
Can't be here! You need to run, now! A trap!
Take care of the others, eh?
So they don't even need to show the glitching out interface. That's just part of the quirk. That's an intentional design to make them even scarier.
No sign of him so far. This way, maybe?
Geode!
A shame. I had hoped to leave here with at least one more cell's worth of ether. But seeing how eager you are to interfere, I shall cut this foray short.
Calyx. What could you possibly stand to gain from these atrocities?
Ether sufficient to generate 5,000 endless. How would you require it?
How would I?
Until I have the key, the reflections are closed to me. Thus do I make do with the sources at hand. 7% of Alexandria's current population will yield the energy to convert 5,000 into endless. With 11%, operations could continue unabated for 800 years. Our bodies are fated to decay sooner or later. These ones refuse the gift of eternal life, so what difference does it make if I return them to Ether now?
It's always someone else's fault with you, isn't it?
I will not waste time and resources on meaningless conflict. This unit cannot offer you worthwhile resistance. Instead, I pose a question. Would you hand over the key if I promise to halt my harvest?
He really does not understand. Endless Fiend was truly a product of his creation. You would only seek other victims.
It was foolish of me to even ask. I return to my work then. There is much to do if I must take the key by force.
It was a very conscious decision that they made you hang out with Geode in that investigation leading up to this, because they were planning on fridging him. Like, going into this project, I was paying specific attention to him to see how much they'd choose to flesh him out when he's just gonna get killed off here. And why is there a naked Makoti here? I can't... There are no words. This pile of dust, these ashes. And the soul cell he left behind, was that his twisted way of returning Geode to us? Damn you, Calyx. Damn you and your careless cruelty. He was our friend. Even so, some might say every death was justified if it meant 5,000 endless can continue their immortal lives. And if a reflection stolen ether allowed for many more endless, why that too would be a noble sacrifice for the greater good. Who would think that? Not I. Certainly not I. We know only too well. There is naught noble in this sacrifice. We have to stop him. We have to find Calyx and put an end to this madness as soon as possible. And under no circumstances can we let the key fall into his possession, Ibuki. It falls to us. We must. We will thwart his plans here in Alexandria before he can terrorize innocents and reflections elsewhere. Though gripped by sadness, Sphene spurs herself into action. We should return to the back room. Shale and the others need to know what happened. Yes, I'll ask Wayakwe to meet us there as well. I get the feeling we aren't really going to be able to check out any of the dungeons or trials, because there are dungeons and trials that I have in mind, but there's a lot of cutscene between here and there. Actually, not just a dungeon and a trial, but there's also a huge puzzle preceding them.
The soldiers. If only I'd been able to control them.
This isn't your fault, Gololja. The blame lies with Calix, and with him alone. It's all so senseless. Why force his plans upon us when we're already happy, living our lives? What does he even think life is? I'll never forgive Calix for doing this. Or myself for being powerless to stop him. Wait, where are you going? To clear my head. Don't worry, I won't do anything stupid.
Stay here and get some rest. I'll make sure Nostalgia stays out of trouble.
Thank you.
Things would have been far worse if you and Geode hadn't rushed in there. Many people are still alive because of you. And after adding what you discovered to the leads we've dug up, I'm hopeful we can determine where Calix is hiding. But not right now. We need time before we can move on. Just a little time.
Oh, Geode.
Told that the members tasked with keeping residents safe returned them with the body of their comrade. They all risk so much. We made a swift patrol of the other levels and confirmed that Calix had carried out a number of targeted attacks. All to harvest more ether, it seems. I got back control of the sentries, probably around the same time Calix left. I'm sorry I couldn't stop them. Geode actually moved away from the dashboard for this. They brought back Geode's guns. Its rounds were spent and its barrel was scorched, so you can be sure he went down fighting. I've spoken with Wuklamat. They've cut their meeting short to deal with the aftermath of this latest violence. I assume you know better than now, but I hope you're not planning to try anything alone. We are all here with you. Another comrade gone. Some days it's almost more than I can bear. Geode was an older brother to Nostalgia and me. Shale knew him longer though, and is surely taking it the hardest. And that's on top of what happened with Kathquia. Do you think you could check on her, see how she's doing? She's likely to put on a brave face if it's me or my sister. Apologies, my mind was elsewhere. We need to press on with the hunt for Calyx, but I can't seem to focus. I should be better than this, I know. As you said, you need time to work through it. You're right, I ought to heed my own words. As it stands, I'm of no use to anyone. Kathquia used to say the best thing to do with grief was to let it all out. So I think I'll take myself over to Earth and Sky and say my goodbyes to Geode. Why don't you come along? I could use someone to blubber to if you have a shoulder to spare. Right then, let's get out of Everkeep for a bit. Oh, I see the Hildibrand quest line is still hanging about saying, hey, how come you haven't done anything with us yet? It's a fair trek on foot, so I've arranged for a couple of airwheelers. They've had their communications modules removed, so even Calyx shouldn't be able to seize control of them. Say the word, and we'll set off. Ready? We'll be flying close to the pylon, so follow my lead. These airwheelers are Jeannot's babies. Oh dear, I missed most of that. You won't find a smoother ride in all of Everkeep. For years now, I've been taking one out for a turn whenever I need to lighten my mood. Sometimes Jero would come along too, Geode would come along too, and we'd end up racing. Does that surprise you? Our friendship has always had a bit of a competitive edge. Yeah, that's just us with Alizé, isn't it? We would often talk about how one day we might fly our wheelers outside the dome. Almost there. Be sure the ground is clear before you touch down. That's helped clear my head a touch. You know, Buki, you might be the first person I've ridden with who wasn't an Oblivion recruit. As far as I remember, at least. The memories from my regulator days aren't exactly reliable. Come on, let's head inside. Hopefully the way will be clear of pests today. Of course it's not. Ugh, just a luck. There, it's clear. Thanks. We usually can avoid such encounters, but sometimes they wander in and block the only path. Not that it's slowed you down at all. I've never seen you fight up close with before. The surveillance feed clearly didn't do it justice. Anyway, hopefully that keeps the route clear for a while, shall we?
Whenever we lost a comrade, the three of us would come back here to reminisce. Me, Geode, and Kafkiwa. Will you raise a glass?
So this is an interesting thing that stands out to me. Because of what happened in Ishgard, the Warrior of Light can be completely against taking any sort of alcoholic drinks at all. But I think Ibuki would do this. To Geode's memory.
Oh!
What are the two of you doing here?
I had a feeling you'd show up. Would you like to join us?
I suppose I could spare a moment. They tell us Oblivion's founders disappeared some decades ago under mysterious circumstances. And it was Kafkiwa who revived our organization. You and Geode helped her with that, didn't you? Tell us more about it. We're keen to know too, right? What they were like back then. The mad things they got up to. That sort of thing.
Those were the days. It was actually right before the Reformation that I met Geode. I still wore a regulator then. I'd recently lost someone close to me. And also quit a long stint as an adapter to work at a bar of all places. It paid me to sit with patrons and keep them company. So Geode came in one night. It wasn't long before we got into an argument. First-time customer, but tempers flared. And then one of us threw a punch.
You got into a fist fight? What were you even arguing about?
Damned if I know. We were deep in our cups. I think we were both just frustrated and angry at everything. By the end of it, we were both sprawled out in the street. A pair of drunken fools. Then this odd machine stopped to lecture us. scolding us for obstructing the foot traffic and not taking better care of ourselves.
I can't imagine you ever being in such a sorry state. The odd machine, that was Kafkiwa, I take it?
That it was. Once she was done upbraiding us for our unseemly behavior, she launched into a recruitment pitch. Kafkiwa explained that she wanted to protect the outside world from Zoralja's invasion, to keep him from bringing ruin to the place her beloved son lived. And if we were so intent on self-destruction, then perhaps we might consider risking our hides for a just cause. It was a lot to take in. I hadn't given much thought to what lay beyond the barrier, and learning that Kafkiwa herself was already dead was enough to make my head spin. But Geode and I were intrigued by her ideas, and wanted to see this future of hers come to pass.
Geode often spoke of it. He told me that meeting Kafkiwa was what first taught him the value of remembering people.
Like he was sharing a holy revelation.
Oh, but back then you hadn't yet taken on Oblivion's name, had you?
Is that so? I just assumed.
It hadn't been Kafkiwa's intention to carry on Oblivion's legacy, nor adopt the cause your parents championed. Not initially, at least. She wasn't even aware such an organized resistance existed. She did, however, suspect the presence of other dissidents, those who objected to resurrecting the memories of the dead in defiance of the natural order. In the hopes of identifying like-minded comrades, we began searching the core system for traces of unauthorized access. And that's how we found it. An anomalous sector in the back of the Neon Stein. According to Melancholy, the door to that mystery had remained firmly shut since she took over the business.
The back room.
The back room. We forced our way in, only to discover that the hideout had long been abandoned. Although the occupants were gone, the equipment they'd left behind contained records of a group calling itself Oblivion. After reading through their exploits and their vision for the future, we made the decision to carry on their work.
Thus were my parents' and Kafkiwa's hopes bound together.
And carried onward by Shale and Geode.
We could never have made it this far on our own, of course. Not without the strength of arms you and your friends provided. Losing comrades is a hard thing, but being here, thinking back on the moments we shared, I could see their smiles, hear their laughter. I feel their presence, and I know they're still with us. But these memories of mine are for me alone. Reminders of why I chose to do this, and why I'll stay the course. Right. Time we got back to work. Thank you, everyone.
No, it's me who should be thanking you. Though the pain is still deep, I don't feel like I'm drowning in it anymore. Let's get out there and put a stop to Calyx. For you, for me, and for everyone who's ever believed in Oblivion.
I appreciate you helping me through this. And not only the grief, you've helped me see that my comrades mean even more to me than I realized, which only fuels my determination. I'll spend every waking moment working to bring Calyx to account for his crimes. I'll do my part, then you do yours. Oblivion needs you. Just point me in the direction and I'll beat him to death for you. Oh wait, he's already dead. I guess I'll just stomp on his hollow bee a couple of times then. Shale steals her heart for the work ahead. This time I went back to locating Calyx's lair. I have a new strategy in mind, but it remains to be seen if it will aid in narrowing down the possibilities. I'll ask Crow for help. I want to re-examine the data, starting with that of her parents. After all, they were the first to break away from preservation and establish an organized resistance with Oblivion. There must be something in there that can point us in the right direction. What are your plans, Ibuki? Oh, great. Ibuki, is that you? Apologies for calling suddenly. I've been making the rounds in the outskirts. I cannot help but feel as though something is amiss. Might I ask you to join me? Your perspective would be most appreciated. You can wait until you've finished attending to Shale, of course. It seems your plan's been decided for you. Go on, I'll have others to speak with before I return to the back room. Ibuki, thank you for coming. As I mentioned, I would benefit from your worldly experience. Perhaps it's in my imagination, but the townspeople appear to be acting oddly. That is, even considering the current state of affairs. As I am yet unfamiliar with the outskirts, I thought you might be better equipped to judge if their behavior is unusual or not. Will you speak with them and see what you think? Though I hope to be proven wrong, I fear something is not right here. Oh sure, it's probably just the extremely eerie music you can hear. Neo-regulator equipped resident. You're not wearing a regulator? Don't you know the end is coming? Well, it's your life to lose. Me, I got myself one of those Neo-regulators and registered a little while ago. As soon as I did, a display appeared showing the number of registered users. Right now, it's sitting at 4,168. The upper limit was 5,000, wasn't it? Seems the total shot up right after those machine malfunctions. It's only a matter of time before everyone's registered. I pity those who weren't chosen, but I'm going to be endless. I'm going to evolve and live happily ever after. System configuration, right. It seems to be going downhill at the same rate that we're advancing through main scenario. Maybe we should just stop doing that and go play with Hildibrand some more. Oh, please tell me you brought more Neo-regulators. Officially, they've already been handed out, but I heard rumors there were a few left over. Surely the government has some, or perhaps Queen Fiendish? Okay, yeah, that's not one of the black ones. I may not look it, but I was a hunter once. Back then, I hardly gave death a second thought. But now that I know the truth, that's all I can think about. There has to be a way to hold on. There has to... Greetings, I remember when you visited with Queen's Fiend. Come to check on our well-being, have you? Well, I can say that things are rather stressful out here as well. Without knowing if or when our machinery might turn murderous, the spectre of death is ever present. People are terrified, the clamour for neo-regulators has reached a fever pitch. I personally was fortunate enough to have claimed new device early on, and have long since completed the registration. Death has no hold over me now. Now I must begin my prayers. The darkness draws closer, grows deeper. We must cast it out. So, what do you think? Was I right to worry? Their fear is palpable. Yes, that's exactly it. The people are overwhelmed by uncertainty and fear, and with each new registration, that fear inside them grows more insistent. How long until it drives them into a full-blown panic? Ibuki, can you come to resolution? We have a problem. I'm already here with Lamachi and Alphano. Sounds like she wants us there in a hurry. We should go.
What's happened? Sorry to drag you out here, but I thought it best you see for yourself.
Death is your constant companion. Though you toil with diligence, death may come ere your reward is bestowed. Though your grand works be poised for completion, death may come ere you wake the following morn. Though you enjoy a life of peace and good fortune, death needs but one instant to claim you. Your bodies are weak. Your heart, your brain, every fragile organ rolls the dice from moment to moment. Sheer chance deciding if they function or fail. Be you stoic or generous or righteous, no virtues tip the scales in that fatal reckoning. The choice is made without reason. The end is cloaked in terror. That is what it means to die.
The announcement began after we finished our meeting with Gossamer. As for its source, well...
Alex.
There is no shame in being afraid. It is that very fear which will drive you to conquer death. Let us set a new course for mankind. Let us preserve our existence unto perpetuity. Hope for it, wish for it, pray for it. We will become endless. With evolution's brilliance, will we banish the ever-present darkness of mortality.
Change isn't easy. No one ever wants to take the first step. But this is the right path for us. What other way could there be? I'm gonna do it. I'm going to register.
Wuklemat! You couldn't have come at a better time. Please, you have to let us move to Tuliyolal.
It's too dangerous to stay here.
Who knows when the next century will turn on us? Even if we wanted to become endless, there are no more neo-regulators to be had. Fleeing is our only option.
If the solution was as simple as leaving, then we'd all have left already. Did you not hear the announcement? For the living, death is a foregone conclusion.
Oh boy. So tempting to rush over and gunblade this guy and then destroy the Neo-Regulator. Because I don't want it, I just don't want him to live.
No matter where we go, or who we shelter with, we won't get another chance like this to overcome our fate.
Easy for you to say when you have that regulator.
The Landsguard are on their way as we speak, and arrangements have been made to see that you all will be safely evacuated. Tulihiola will aid you in whatever way we can. So please, remain calm.
I want to help Alexandria. I want to save its people. But what can I do? I am not their queen.
Verifying registration number. Verification complete. Welcome, guest of Queen's Fiend. This is Resolution, the operational center of Solution 9. If you have any queries, please present yourself at the counter inside the facility. First those deadly malfunctions and now a city-wide announcement. He has spent considerable effort recruiting his 5,000 endless. Perhaps more than necessary, even. We had the hopefuls who descended on Lamachi dispersed for now. We could see tempers in the crowd were starting to fray. This latest wave of attacks may not have been as widespread, but people are reaching their breaking point. We have to stop Calyx, and soon. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in time. The crowd told me everything that happened while we were away. My apologies, the sign is not responding to any of our attempts to change the display or switch it off. I mean, we could blow it up. What else are you going to use it for? Calyx has access to the core system, which means that if he chooses to do so, he could deploy the soldiers beyond the barrier. Even if our people learn to live with death and decide to leave the dome behind, they will not be beyond his reach. Yet if it serves to allay their fears even a little, I beg you, Wuklamat, please let them shelter in Tuliolo. We will welcome any and all who want to come. We've already begun evacuations and will be able to pick up the pace once the Landsguard arrives. In which case we had best spread out and keep an eye on the crowds. The mood is tense, we must be prepared for possible violence. If you happen to determine where Calyx is hiding though, we'll be ready to move at a moment's notice. Surely we'll find a clue of some kind soon. He can't elude us forever. Violence and fear. This is not the future she envisioned for her nation. Wuklama is just never going to get over her chatbot girlfriend. You give so much of yourselves to aid those in need. I must endeavor to find my own small way to help. Wuklama assesses her surroundings with grim determination. Preservation their purpose. Tuliaholu would gladly welcome every Alexandrian with open arms. But what of the nation their late queen was so desperate to preserve? What of that bright haven of peace and laughter? Wuklamat. I won't stand here and let her legacy be sullied any further. I will protect Alexandria. That was the promise I made her at the last. But she betrayed you, did she not? Why do you feel this obligation? I saw myself in her, I suppose. We both felt the people's joy as our own, yet alone we lacked the strength to protect them. There is so much that I love in this world, too much for me to take in my arms and keep safe. And that made me afraid. I needed someone who shared that love and fear, so we could do together what we couldn't by ourselves. Or maybe it's simpler than that. Maybe I just wish we could have been friends. So when she turned on me in her final hour, desperate to safeguard Alexandria's future, I swore that I would see it done. In the end, I think you both found the friend you needed. I would be yours as well, Fiend. Whenever you fall or struggle to rise, I'll come running to the rescue, and you do the same for me. That's how we protect the things we love. That's how we'll protect Alexandria. You're right. And don't forget about me. How could we? We'd not be where we are now without you. We got a bit sidetracked there. We should probably be on our way. Do we patrol or see if Shale needs a hand? There you all are! Guluja! Ah, splendid. We were afraid we'd miss you. Alize and the others said you were here. Good news, Ibuki. We've finally found a chink in Calyx's armor. We discovered laboratories on Everkeep's 10th level that once housed a preservation initiative. Containment Complex 1029 is called. It's been falsely registered as a distribution center. In reality, it hasn't recorded any traffic in decades. We don't think this is where Calyx is hiding as such, but it may well contain clues that will point us in the right direction. I'm sorry to say it took so long just to get this far. If you're interested, what do you say we all go and check it out together? Thank you all for your hard work. This is a huge step forward. Okay, we're at the 2-hour mark, and this is going to be a very long puzzle. I think we will do the puzzle, and then we'll do our investigation, and then we'll wrap up at the end of that. So next week we can tackle Dungeon and Trial. Hand up, we need to take the lift to get to the complex. I've cleared this expedition with relevant authorities and have one of our people waiting to operate said lift. Let's not keep her waiting. One specific thing about Calyx's announcement video there is that it says there's no shame in death. There's no shame in the fear of death because it'll make you strong, and I hate that it's a perversion of a good train of thought that it's okay to be afraid because overcoming it means true courage, but he's perverted it. It's the same reason I cannot stand Nagito Kameda. I'll share the method we used to find the containment complex once we're inside. It wasn't actually all that different to the story of how we stumbled across the back room. It sounds like Guluja played a big part in this breakthrough. I'll be sure to treat him to a fine feast once this is all over. Shale made me her assistant. She was teaching me the basics of data management. An institute on preservation scale would have had many such facilities in the city. Yet I cannot help but wonder if this one is where my parents worked. Preservation laboratories. I shudder to think of what they were researching, but this is no time to be squeamish. Ready to head on up? Next stop, 10th level. Someday I've got to go back to my Wii U gamepad and play through the rest of Explorers of the Sky. I say, looking at my Wii U gamepad, sitting underneath my monitor. But I already have so many other projects.
This is one of Preservation's laboratories.
It's so dark I can barely see.
Just a moment. If I can reroute the power to the circuit.
You got the lights working!
Smell how stale the air is.
Oh no!
It was thanks to Kryl and Galulja that we managed to locate this place.
This room hasn't been in use for many years.
You may remember that my earring contained the control code for the gate to the Golden City. As it was Preservation that constructed the portal, we reasoned that the code to operate it might include a signature of some sort, unique to their organization.
So I took a closer look, and a line-by-line examination yielded a string of symbols identifying the code's author. We then began accessing the nodes for every door in Everkeep, seeking out control codes which contained those same symbols. After a grueling search, we finally discovered our prize behind door number 1860, the entrance to the facility in which we now stand. I'd probably still be at it if Galulja hadn't been around to assist me.
You've gone through 2,000 doors. That sounds mind-numbingly numb. Or boring.
I took breaks, but Shale never stopped working. Not even once.
Sounds like you need one of Geno's energy tonics.
Those concoctions would probably do me more harm than good, but I appreciate the sentiment. In any case, this next part will require your helping hands.
We need to spread out and search for something that may lead us to Calyx.
We're more than happy to help, of course. But I wonder, won't he realize we've found this place?
It's highly likely, and personally I hope he does.
You all know our main objective. We're here to pick up Calyx's trail. And I've learned of a certain device that should help us do just that. I'll explain how as we proceed, but according to the information I was able to dredge up, the device in question should have been installed in the director's office. Now, as for where that might be, yes, this map matches my data. This room we're in is the Researcher's Commons, located in the west side of the complex. The Director's office is to the northeast of here. So we should cut across this circular chamber in the middle, yes? Yes, we should, but unfortunately for us, the interior door is locked. We'll need a security key with the appropriate clearance to open it. Judging by the mechanism, it'll probably be a card of some kind. Can't you know, work some electro magic? I'll try my best, but this type of lock is well before my time. It may take a while to crack it. And in case I can't, you might want to look around and see if anyone left a security card behind. Considering the state of this place, it does seem like they abandoned it in some haste. I shouldn't be surprised if we found one. Very well, let's get to searching, shall we? I expect we'll have the most luck looking where the researchers kept their personal belongings. You begin searching Containment Complex 1029. Close cooperation will be necessary to overcome the obstacles barring your path forward. Helpful hints will appear in a different color. Pay close attention to the information provided by your comrades should you find yourself unable to proceed. No luck so far. This bin had nothing in it at all. Oh man, even my minion vanished. A few documents sit in an untidy stack atop the desk. You find no security cards hidden among them. The arcane circuits in here, you see, are decades old. I'll keep at it, but a security card might be the only way we're getting past this lock anytime soon. The terminal screen displays what appears to be the index page of an employee manual. Personnel protocols. For security reasons, Containment Complex 1029 has been registered as a materials distribution center. Keep this in mind and conduct yourself accordingly, both inside and outside the facility. Each employee must perform their tasks within their designated workrooms. The researchers commons the Proto-Lab or the Dawntrail Lab. Entrance into another workroom without official clearance is strictly prohibited. Carry your security card at all times. Your clearance level dictates the areas which you have access. Equip your regulator at all times. Due to the highly confidential nature of the research materials and other data managed within this complex, preservation retains the ownership of and the rights to modify the memories of all registered personnel. Yep. Research objectives. Access denied. Please log in with your personal account to view. Leadership personnel. Complex Director Demetrius. Protolab Chief Eosfa. Dawntrail Lab Chief Redacted. A few indecipherable notes remain pinned to this notice board, but nothing that resembles a security card. Was this really a preservation laboratory? I thought there'd be something more, I don't know, special about it. These shelves are almost entirely bare, but I'll examine the files to be certain. Perhaps the researchers kept their personal belongings at their workstations. In that case, I won't look at them because I want to look at all the other dialogue. You scan the bin's interior hoping to find some card-shaped rubbish, but it appears to be empty. Nothing in there, then. I'm not even sure where the people keep their personal belongings in this day and age. This small shelving unit holds some office supplies and little else of note. This appears to be the only desk with drawers already open. You can tell at a glance the desk's former owner has left some things behind. And this is the one where it gives you the option to say no. You discover a card-shaped object. The electrode surface is marked with a bold level 1. Oh, could that be what we're looking for? Try it on the door, see if it opens. Access denied. Okay, so we can't log into someone else's account. They have too good a cybersecurity. A scanning device. The card-shaped object you hold looks to be of similar size to the scanner panel. A card-shaped object fashioned from electrope. You hold the card-shaped object to the scanner. And it triggers a boss fight! You shouldn't have done that! It's open! You did it, Ibuki! And a good thing too, I was getting nowhere with that outdated circuit. I am curious though, why would they abandon a facility like this? It was run by a director Demetrius, or so that terminal there told me. Perhaps there are more answers to be had once we venture further inside. Then let us continue onwards. The door to the director's office is across the central hub. Looks like every room can be accessed from this hub. Going by the labels on their map, we haven't entered any of the actual labs yet. This must be the door to the director's office. Go on, try the card. Another locked door. We could try the same card again, but... You hold the level 1 security card up, and the scanner beeps in disapproval. No good? Maybe we need a different card. Yeah, the scanner is demanding a level 3 security clearance to open the lock. As much as the delay chafes me, we'll just have to comb through the nearby rooms and hope we stumble upon the card we need. Let's start our search in the proto-lab. That door is already open at least. We will find a way through together, Shale. I'm sure of it. So the developer behind Kitsune Tales is actually making a JRPG, believe it or not, a dungeon crawler, featuring another Kitsune. Please excuse my impatience, the means to track down Calyx are close, I'm itching to get my hands on him. I dug through this data tablet and found a journal. I'll read it to you. The results of experiment 158 show a marked improvement in aether extraction rates. At last, we have achieved the target value set by Master Calyx. Though I will become an endless as per our ascendancy protocols, I will preserve this historic number, along with my few remaining worldly effects. Preserve the number? This machine feeds into a soul cell. Ugh, I'm reminded of my imprisonment by the Empire. Surely this device wasn't made to hold people? It appears to be researcher's personal data tablet. Today I began my employment at Preservation. The organization was unfamiliar to me, but when the recruitment letter arrived, I had a gut feeling that this work would be far more fulfilling than any orthodox medical practice. My instincts were correct. Master Calyx's philosophy is the refined ideal of notions I've only ever vaguely entertained, that mankind must evolve beyond the shackles of its flesh and blood existence. I had a meeting with the director Demetrius today. I've heard others praise his genius intellect, but he seems to be guttering candle in comparison to Master Calyx's blinding brilliance. This morning I was permitted access to the top floor and observed the workings of living memory. As predicted, the shortage of ether required to sustain the Endless is reaching critical levels, yet Queen Sphene insists on continuing her ineffectual flailing. Our Millilala colleagues, including the Proto-Lab Chief, have been behaving in a decidedly suspicious manner of late. Should I report my concerns to the Director? From tomorrow, I've been assigned to assist with the research project in the Dawntrail Lab. We are scheduled to conduct a major experiment, the details of which I have been kept ignorant. It would seem prudent to back up my memory data. You have reached the ending of the journal entries. These notes seem to be about the research they did in here. Let's take a look. Experiment 148. Subject inference candidate 2019-30 to be considered for efficiency procedure review. Experiment 158. Maximum value of 11,559 recorded. Comparative study to be included in the report. Alright then. Oh, one more. Experiment 163. New proposal produced a result of 9834. Decreased value verified. Well, I have no idea what any of that means. Maybe it will make sense later on. Okay, I'm going to click and drag a bit back here. 158. So that's the number that we need to keep in mind. The way this room is set up. The canister inserted into that large device looks to be a soul cell. Could this be where they conducted their experiments to create Endless? But we could probably spend days investigating this complex. Finding a way into the director's office must take precedence. Speaking of which, Guljar mentioned a locker over in the corner he couldn't open. Perhaps you could take a look? The locker door is shut tight, but the number pad suggests that inputting the correct combination will open it. You have gleaned some numerical data during your investigation. Attempt to enter the combination. Select the number keys on the pad to input a combination. Enter up to 5 digits, then press confirm. 1, 1, 5, 0, 9. The locker pops open. Inside you discover a level 2 security card. Ibuki, you got the locker open! And you found another security card! Oh, but does that say level 2? We needed a level 3, didn't we? Yes, but it should still open more doors for us to explore. You did well, Ibuki. These preservation members lead such surprisingly normal lives. Leaving notes, losing their cards, I imagine they'd be more... what's the word? Bloodless? Mechanical? My parents were once part of preservation, if you'll recall. Would seem the researchers who agreed with Calyx and his philosophy underwent the conversion to endless entities. But I assume those who could not, or would not, eventually left the organization altogether. Oh, I almost forgot. The researchers kept journals in their data tablets. The one I read doesn't explain much, but something big happened in the complex, and afterwards it was decided everyone would become endless. The writer was really happy about this. You can tell how much they admired Calyx and his work. The entries ended after that, but maybe you can read more in the other tablet there. Right, let's move this investigation to another room. Well, we have the Dawntrail lab and the main facilities left to search. Both are accessed via the southeast corridor. So back to the hub, then the locked door across the way. Which I hopefully will yield before our new security card. I'll take the old one if you like. I don't have much use for it anymore. Everyone's staring at me expectantly. If there were others beside my parents who left preservation, where might they be now? It seems not everyone who joined preservation became endless right away. There must have been research that required physical bodies. The scanner awaits. Hold the security card up to the panel and it should unlock the door. Calyx hasn't bothered to show his face yet, I see. Maybe he hasn't noticed us, or maybe he's just watching and waiting. What else do they have in this place? If I read that map right, it must be a lot smaller than the Ueyawata's facility, which had Hildibrand in it. A scanning device awaits silently for a security card with the appropriate level of clearance. Yes, it opened! So, where should we go first? The Dawntrail lab or the facilities? Let's start with the lab. What is a gulajar? How strange, this door is not lit up like the others. Shouldn't the security card open this door as easily as the last one? What does this sign say? Shale, there doesn't seem to be any power here. No, none at all. It's possible that the energy for the supply room is on a separate conduit, which means there should be a contingency for opening the door. Look here, there's a sign above the card scanner. In case of emergency, backup power can be rerouted from facilities. The facilities room is down the other branch of this corridor. Let's see about getting the power restored to the Dawntrail lab, shall we? Oh yeah, this puzzle. Oh good, the terminal is lit up. That means we have power in this room. The Dawntrail lab must have required greater amounts of energy to operate. What kind of experiments were they conducting in there? So, this was the room was for managing power supply and utilities. I hope they would keep security cards in here as well. Those are some big flashy floor tiles. I wonder what they're for. Engaging power supply. No good, it's returning an error. It must be a preliminary procedure. According to this error code reference, if the power supply has been interrupted for an extended period of time, then we need to reconfigure both the emergency generator and the circuit control panels. Shale, that's the emergency generator over there, isn't it? Yes, and by the looks of it, it's the same model as the one used in Heritage Found. But how does it send power to the other lab? Ah, I see. The energy cable attached to the base of this terminal leads down the hole directly to the Dawntrail lab. Which means we need a way to connect the generator to that cable. What about those patterns on the floor? Could this be the circuit we need to reconfigure? I believe you have the right of it. Using the control panels set into each of the tiles, we create an unbroken path for the power to follow. What I wouldn't give for an instruction manual. Indeed, if you could look around for any written procedures, I'll keep digging through the terminal's directories. Might I also ask someone to operate the generator? I can do it. I've used that type of machine before. Then would you be willing to try and reconfigure the circuit path, Ibuki? The rest of us can help by supplying Ibuki with whatever information we find on the circuitry configuration. So I'm pretty sure I can just get to... I think I do remember how this pattern goes. But let's just go through each step just for fun. All the evidence just for fun. Ibuki, take a look at this diagram. There's a note in the bottom left about backup power. Configure the 4 circuit control panels to create an uninterrupted path. These symbols must represent the room we're in. If that square in the top left is Shale's terminal, then the bottom right should be the generator that Guluja is working on. It's hard to make out the rest. Assuming these are our 4 tile patterns, bottom right is a square and top right is half a circle? It's something to get you started at least. I was able to glimpse part of the warning sign behind the containers. From what I could make out, it said, "Caution, circuit will not function with duplicate patterns." I suppose that means only one of each circuitry pattern can be set at the same time. And honestly, that just gives the whole thing away. Well, that doesn't look right, does it? You connected all the circuits. Inform your comrades of the successful reconfiguration. It worked! We did it, Ibuki! The Dawntrail labs should now be fully powered. Well done, everyone. If I may, Shale, could we access a certain data log before moving on? I was checking the storage shelves and one of the labels caught my eye. Preservation the Early Days is the title. Of course, it'll only take a moment to bring up the contents. It looks to be a text-based account. I'll read it out. Preservation, an Alexandrian Institute for Technological Development, was founded by Calyx, an 11-year-old child prodigy. Approval for establishing the organization came during Alexandria's involvement in the Storm Surge, with Calyx's designs for new defensive solutions funded in large part by the Treasury. As conflict grew in intensity and casualties mounted, Calyx funneled the Preservation's resources towards the perfection of memory storage. Research into this field continued even after the Storm Surge came to an end, with Calyx eventually electing to preserve his own memories in virtual domain. So this account is from before he embraced his endless existence, hundreds of years ago. I met him only once before the Storm Surge began. I was attending my father, who was then the reigning king of Alexandria. Calyx could not have been more than 10 years of age and required constant treatment for his debilitating illness. Yet he still published theories of so highly regarded that even the royal family was aware of his achievements. Life should not be lost to the injustice of death. Even now I can hear the single-minded will behind his words. So it was when war came to our kingdom, my father was quick to commit his unwavering support to this somber youth and his proposals for preservation. Several years later, the ensuing violence brought the death of both my parents. Overwhelmed as I was by my sudden succession to the throne, I suspect they spared me the reports on endless research and other less urgent matters. So you have no way of knowing what kind of person Calyx was changing into? Did he change? I wonder. Perhaps he has ever been the one to value ideals over compassion, and I failed to see it at the time. Or perhaps he did change, but he is still driven by those same deeply held beliefs, that mortality is cruel and unjust, and his role is to deliver mankind from this fate. Whatever the case may be, we cannot allow him to shape our future. Let's press on, shall we? If I've done my job correctly, the door to the Dawntrail labs should be accessible now. We'll give everything a once over just to be sure. We are actually getting a little bit of development on Calyx before we go kick his ass. The energy current seems stable enough. Still, you should let me handle this one. The security card, if you please. Oh, and a quick prayer that a shortened wire doesn't burn me from the inside out. A calculated evolution. Shale is examining the card scanner. Right, I'll get this door open. Kaboom! Smooth as silk. Let's head inside and see what happens. See what awaits. Gods above, isn't that... key to interdimensional fusion. That looks to be a schematic on the monitor. And they've used it to make another key, but isn't it missing the shard inside like the one Ibuki has? Ah, we may have been laboring under a misconception. The key was originally a Melilala relic. Once this treasure came into its possession, preservation began working to harness the power to cross dimensions. Aside from the crystal, we can see that all the vessel's components were constructed here. So what might that tell us? The crystal itself is the key. This is just the device they made to control it. That would be the logical conclusion, yes. It is as my parents explained. The key remains shrouded in mystery. Preservation augmented it with electrope, but never grasped the technology's underlying principles. To this day, not a single person understands the mechanics of interdimensional fusion. Not who imbued the key with its power, not when they did so, nor why. Now it makes sense. Calyx can track the key because its vessel was made by preservation. I believe there is much more we may learn in this room. On our next visit, I will have to enlist Ishtola's assistance for a thorough investigation. I too am curious about a great many things, but pinning down Calyx's whereabouts is our top priority. Hopefully there is a security card here that grants access to the director's office. The research conducted in this lab appears to have been made highly confidential in nature. Some of the personnel must have belonged to the organization's upper echelons. And that means high security clearance. Ooh, we're pushing 240. This is it. But I do want to cover all of this laboratory investigation in a single episode or stream. This lone storage crate is filled with document binders and other miscellaneous objects, none of which are security cards. Why were they making so many vessels? Did the other ones not work properly? I'll search through these drawers. One of us is bound to find something, I'm sure of it. Maybe someone left a card on a shelf somewhere? If those cameras are anything to go by, this lab was under constant surveillance. I'll scan the recordings and try to spot where people left their security cards. Maybe we'll get lucky. I keep holding out hope that I'll find some evidence of my parents here, despite knowing there is none. This sturdy-looking shelving unit holds a storage crate and sealed barrels, no sign of security cards. You find a security card in the cabinet drawer! Oh, did you find a security card? Well, that's a stroke of luck. Let's have Cheryl examine it to be sure. Well, if it isn't exactly what we needed. Nice work, Ibuki. Oh, level 3! That should get us into the director's office. So, what was it you were hoping to find in there again, Shale? You were saying a certain device was going to help us. Right, I haven't properly explained myself, have I? I'm looking for a data relay. After we discovered this ostensibly abandoned complex, I performed a cursory investigation which detected a connection to an outside network. When I traced the data's routing, I confirmed traffic from a web of Everkeep security cameras. Considering the way Calyx is always one step ahead of us, we must assume he's quietly seized control of the city's surveillance system and has been using it to monitor our activities. To monitor what you, as the key holder, are planning. But since Calyx is the ultimate recipient of those transmissions, the flow of data is like a river that we can follow back to him. Which is why I need the data relay. If I can analyze the device and see where it's rerouting all the surveillance traffic, then you can pinpoint Calyx's position. That said, he has done nothing to impede our progress, which makes me think I might be on the entirely wrong track. Maybe the reason he isn't stopping us is because he can't. Back in the old castle, Calyx said he was measuring Ibugi's strength. What can he possibly dream up that's stronger than her? Oh, speaking of cameras, there was one other thing I meant to mention. I found evidence that someone deliberately disabled the surveillance feed in this room. The most recent recording was also crudely deleted. I was able to restore the data though, if you'd like to see it. I'll start the show then. That's the drawer that our keycard was in.
Are you really planning to leave?
Yes. The idea of eternal life. It's begun to frighten me.
I struggle to renounce our conventional wisdom. Death is the means by which life prunes its branches, leaving the trunk to grow strong and tall. We die so that our species may flourish. What would become of mankind were we to halt that process? If unending stagnation is the fruit of our labor, then perhaps we strive for the wrong thing.
Your argument is a rejection of Master Calyx's vision.
I suppose it is. Perhaps such dread would not plague me, were I capable of sharing his perspective on the subject.
But I cannot. He and I are too different, in too many ways. I lack his extraordinary genius. I had no illness threatening to cut my life short, no singularity of will to cut away all distractions and focus solely upon research.
I have nothing but respect for his determination. The way he overcame his prognosis and seized the means to transcend death itself. But I'm not convinced that this obsession with living is the right path. That's why I've decided to leave preservation and put all my effort towards building a legacy for the next generation to come. Surely you...
Protocol, you understand. There can be no exceptions.
She only wanted to leave, and he executed her. And unfortunately, we're never going to get a chance to beat up Demetrius. I checked the images against personnel data, and the man who pulled the trigger was Director Demetrius himself. Everything I could find on him pointed to a deep infatuation with Master Calyx. The cameras in this room have been out of operation ever since that incident. Given that the recording was erased, I can only assume he was trying to conceal his grisly deed from the other researchers. I'm not surprised, given how my parents described their defection from the Institute. They spoke of rushing me through a portal even as Preservation's agents closed in on them. I dared not ask what became of them after that, but if it turns out they were captured by their pursuers... They did not regret their actions. Right, the Echo. Knowing you saw them as they were, your words give me great comfort. Oh, Cryo. Worry not, Sphene. Thanks to the Haven of Living Memory, I was at least able to meet my parents and learn what they stood for. It is enough for me to carry on. Even now, we don't know how the conflict unfolded between your parents and Preservation. But what we do know is that your mother and father cleverly expunged every last trace of their movements. They made sure no one could cross into the source or threaten their child's safety. Right, let's press on, shall we? This tale behind the key deserves a fitting conclusion. To the Director's office! If Demetrius hadn't shot her, then we wouldn't have a key to bust into his office today and thwart Calyx. No cruel deed goes unpunished. Was Calyx the one who gave orders to execute defectors? The more we learn about him, the less I understand. I don't expect to find any information on my parents in this next room either. That's something I can be proud of. My early investigations put the data relay just beyond this door. Let's get it open, shall we? Hearing Crowd talk about her parents reminded me of how much I miss Namika. I guess I'll never really get over it. If that man in the recording was Director Demetrius, this must be his office. A card-shaped key for opening restricted doors. This one is marked with a level 3 security clearance. Not gonna stop me now. You hold the level 3 security card up to the scanner. There we go, let's head inside. Now to find the odd data relay, and don't be shy everyone, speak up if anything odd catches your eye. Ibuki, come with me, I might need that security card. This is a report on reducing people to ether and how much energy can be harnessed per individual. Of course it is. Oh, my apologies, I was thinking about the key. This Director Demetrius was very particular about how he decorated his office. We've got incense and vases and some kind of gem display. Something odd, something odd. Damn, this terminal isn't connected to any outside networks. It can't be the data relay I'm looking for. This office is also smaller than the map suggested. I'm positive we're in the right room. What am I missing? Sorry, Ibuki, could I ask you and the others to search the office for clues to this infuriating puzzle? Having lain dormant for years, the now active coffee maker has already entered a self-cleaning cycle. It appears to have no purpose beyond brewing coffee, though it remains to be seen when it will be able to do so once more. These drawers only have big heavy books in them. I would have filled them with snacks! Oh, but maybe the books are hiding something. I'll check! Amongst other personal effects, you can find what is presumably the director's data tablet. A closed locker stands next to the table. Jump scare warning. The door to the locker swings open easily. It contains nothing of note. You quietly shut the locker door. And we don't even get the option to have a look at it again. Examine the data tablet. You pick up the data tablet and begin skimming through the contents. Daily reports. Nothing of note. The mystery of the key's activation condition remains unsolved. The key triggered an explosion today. Temporary interdimensional portal verified. Continue attempts to stabilize the core's energy reactions. 13 researchers sustained fatal injuries in the explosion. Memory faculties of 4 personnel sufficiently intact for endless conversion. Remaining 9 designated for ether reclamation processing. Nothing of note. Rejected resignations of 2 Mililala researchers. Major incident details in full report. Those two inept Mililala broke with preservation and were sonded with the key. Though the fugitives have since been caught and eliminated, we were far too late to recover the relic. The only reason we retained our flesh was to serve Master Calyx's physical instruments to conduct his experiments. Deprived of the object of our research, our existence serves no further purpose. I dare not imagine the depths of his disappointment in me. This complex is to be shut down. All personnel will have their bodies reduced to ether, which will be allocated for further experimentation. Memory data will be archived. Any endless conversions will be subject to Master Calyx's discretion. If he does not deem us fit, we are not deserving of eternal life. Oh boy. It feels somewhat similar to the data centers that we've got going around because it's so much. I mean, we could let you have your water back, but we'd just rather use it and taint it and to keep it all for ourselves because we're making the future. Don't you like the future? Shutdown protocols. All personnel have undergone processing. Once the shutdown protocols have been completed, I will proceed with my own corporeal dissolution. As long as the key remains in the physical world, we must keep this complex in pristine condition. Whether it be needed for experiments or otherwise, we must be ready to support future operations in whatever capacity Master Calyx requires. To that end, our facility equipment will be maintained in stasis mode. Furthermore, a critical component for secure room access will be stored separately to defend against unauthorized entry. Soul Cell Storage Case. The collection of soul cells may have once belonged to the director. They appear to be empty. You find a crumpled note wedged between the file binders. Secure room lift access. Requires passwords to be input simultaneously in the Protolab, Dutrolab, and Director's office. Perhaps this discovery would be of interest to Shale. And should we so want, we can go check out the locker again. Have you found something? Thank you. Misplaced note, was it? With instructions for accessing a secure room, no less. Seems we need to enter a password on 3 different terminals at the same time. There was no such room marked on the map, was there? No, a precautionary measure, no doubt. And if passwords are involved, I expect the access lift itself is concealed too. Concealed by electrope, you mean? Ah, could it be that wall? I thought it seemed odd when I walked past it. Remember what Cathquia used to say, Shale? Never trust an electrope surface. Electrope isn't always what it appears to be. Oh, of course! Electrope is how you alter the look of all of Solution 9's floors and walls, isn't it? In which case it shouldn't be too hard to disable. Another door! I've managed to deactivate the projection, but the lock itself is another story. Didn't that note lay out the password protocol? I say we go ahead and try it. I agree. 2 people should prepare the lab terminals for input while the rest of us look for passwords here in the office. I'll take the proto lab. Then I'll take the Deuter lab. Actually, it might be better if you stayed here, Sphene. Your knowledge of Alexandria and its people could be needed here. I looked ahead in the notes for writing this scene, and we're definitely going to need you here. Yes, you're right. If the passwords are hiding behind clues, there might be something I can help with. I can help too. I've lived my whole life in Alexandria after all. I will take Deuter lab duty then. We can keep in touch via communicator to match our timing. Ibuki, you shall have the honor of entering the office password. Once we've determined what we need to input, take your place at this terminal. I'll stand by to guide Wuklama and Kral through the process. You'll know, there was that display plate over there, the one with the gems. I thought since it was made of electrope, it might have some other purpose. But I couldn't find any switches or buttons to make it do anything. Maybe you can figure it out. You know, just in case you weren't talking to Wuklama and didn't realize this was important. I kept searching the drawers with the books and found a cube puzzle made of electrope. It's probably just a toy, but maybe... Solve the puzzle. You got it! Let's see if I move this bit, then connect this circuit to that one. There! Huh? There was something inside. Oh, it's a pretty green stone. I think it might be Alexandrite. They say these gems were so treasured in the past they named the kingdom after them. Here, you should hold on to this one just in case. Two jewels are embedded in this electrode plate. You identify the blue jewel gem as a sapphire, and a red gem as a garnet. There also appears to be an empty slot for another jewel to fill. Try to insert the Alexandrite into the empty slot. The gemstones fit snugly into place. Almost immediately afterwards, the glowing lines of a diagram appear on the display, accompanied by a short phrase. A floor plan of this complex. As you continue studying the display, you realize these shapes correspond to the rooms of the complex in which you now stand. This may be related to the passwords you were looking for. The glowing words appear to be handwritten. Yeah, I knew that jewel would come in handy. Let me see. Heed the stones. This must be about the special meanings that Alexandrians have for gemstones. It's an old belief, I think, where each type of gem means something different. Well, I bet if you asked Sphene, she could tell you more about it. After all, even her name comes from a gemstone. Sapphire in the Proto Lab. Garnet in the Deuter Lab. Alexandrite in the Director's Office. Cancel. Sphene, do you have anything about order for us to work with? Yes, if you have questions you need only ask. What's the symbolism of Alexandrite? Well, I was taught that the Alexandrite represents the concept of protection. It is, incidentally, also the origin of Alexandria's name. Oh, are you thinking this has something to do with passwords? A sapphire and a garnet as well, you see. Yes, they all have meanings. Alexandrite, as I said, is protection. Sapphire represents honesty. Garnet symbolizes devotion. We should try these words at the terminals and see if they're accepted. I hope they're right. You have gathered enough information to attempt entering the passwords. We're all set to go here. Wuklamat and Crow are just waiting on their passwords. Let's start with Wuklamat in the Protolab. What word should she enter? Sapphire is in the Protolab. Honesty. The password for Kral in the Deuterolab. The Deuterolab was actually... So I have to swap between the General tab and the Event tab to check what it said about those gemstones. But I then immediately remembered the Garnet Lab is the Deuterolab, so that's Devotion. And lastly, what will we input for the Director's office? Protection. Right, we have all 3 passwords ready. Now to enter them into the system at the same time. Oh, Cryle wheeled over a little stepladder to stand on so she could reach. Yay! Oh, I'm so glad that worked. That secure room is the only place we've yet to search. If the data relay is anywhere, it has to be there. We'll venture in as soon as Wuklamat and Crow rejoin us. We did it, thanks to you, and a little bit thanks to me, I hope. Great work, Ibuki! Leave it to you to divine passwords from an ornamental display. Well, that went well. Excellent finding, Ibuki. Speaking of gemstone gemstone symbology, for Alexandrians, Sphene holds the meaning of eternal light. When my parents named me, it was their wish that I become an unwavering beacon of hope for our people. To think on it now, I have ever shared that destiny with my other self. Alright everyone, time to board the lift and see what awaits us.
This terminal doesn't look special to me, but this is definitely what we're after?
It is, but whether or not it will suffice for our purposes is another question.
Wait a minute, did that screen have a QR code on it? Even Alexandrians have QR codes.
The Endless are created using the memories of the deceased. But as memories are, in essence, collections of data, the resultant entities have no physical form. These data entities, as we might call them, have only 2 methods for interacting with the material world. One of these we saw in Living Memory, where the Endless are granted temporary bodies through the use of corporeal ether. They become much like solid ghosts that one can see and touch. The other method, which Kafkiwa employed, is the remote operation of a machine. But where do you suppose the Endless are to be found when not inhabiting a physical body? The Endless are memories, and if memories are data, then...
In a world formed of data?
Yes, We suspect they reside in a virtual domain, one contained entirely within an electrope-based machine. We've seen such a realm before, after all.
Oh, you mean like the Alexandria made from the Endless Fiend's memories? It all seems so real.
So this virtual domain, it would also be housed within the Meso Terminal.
But how? I thought we shut down all the terminals in living memory.
You did. And Kafkiwa's program performed just as she intended. The Meso Terminal itself was deactivated, as evidenced by the failure of the device which was keeping Sfien's body in stasis. Be that as it may, we face a master of electrope engineering. That he managed to partition and protect a sector harboring his own memories is well within the bounds of possibility.
Let us say that the Meso Terminal does indeed contain a second domain, and that Calyx himself resides there. This city, on the other hand, exists here in the Source. That being the case, I thought perhaps we could prevent his remote interference by closing the gate to the Golden City, and thus severing the connection between worlds.
But then how am I supposed to visit for hunts?
Except I tried to close it once already when I visited living memory. The process required administrative authorization, a restriction I assumed at the time had been imposed by the Queen.
But now you think Calyx might be responsible.
We could blow it up?
Just as I suspected. Even now, security transmissions from throughout the Keep are being tapped by the core system and routed elsewhere. Almost every single one has you as its focus. He's keeping track of the keyholder's movements.
What a creep.
Time's up, and what a waste of time it's been. Hoping to find me by tracing security data? That will not be necessary. Through a not inconsiderable effort, I've taken your measure and prepared a force sufficient to subdue you. Come. I invite you to the upper reaches of the Meso Terminal. The storage device which holds my memories is there. Break the memory bank and victory is yours. I, in turn, will seek to wrest the key from you with any and every means at my disposal.
And if we refuse this invitation?
I will wait and continue to convert Alexandrians into Endless. Consider the urgency of the situation and make the wiser choice.
Answer me one question, Calyx. The Endless Fiend. When she was queen, you had her face an impossible task, then manipulated her into using the key when she was at her most desperate. If you can do all that, then why not whisk it away when her plans went to ruin? Why let it fall into our hands?
You pour salt in the wound. That disaster was a miscalculation on my part. As her end drew near, Sphene and her restructured memories had become one with the terminal's control systems. In that singular place, in that singular moment, she wielded an authority greater than mine. Thus she was able to shield you, the neighboring sovereign to whom she entrusted her nation's future, and the hero to whom she entrusted that priceless key. I am unsure to what degree she perceived my presence, but she knew that someone was watching.
Which I think is what she was talking about when, back in the original main scenario, she was trying to tell us something, but then she got interrupted, but then she broke off when she saw security bots flying nearby. She knew someone was watching, and it wasn't the King of Resolve. It was this idiot. Well, okay, it was this jackass. We can't exactly call him an idiot because he's quite intelligent, he's just sociopathic.
Does that satisfy your curiosity?
It does. And I'm satisfied that you will take nothing more from this nation. Not one more life, not one more future, not one single smile from another child's face. You hear me? Sorry for losing my temper, but there's only one way we can deal with people like Calyx.
I mean, you expect me to say all that to him? I'm a silent protagonist.
Whatever grand future he envisions, someone will be made to pay the price. And I won't let that happen.
He's wrong if he thinks he's taken our measure.
If I may, I realize it is not my place to say this. Even so, I must thank you both. On behalf of my other self, allow me to say how grateful I am to have you as our champions.
Phew, well, that was an adventure. It may not have been the method Shale was hoping for, but at least we now know where to find Calyx and what we need to do next. Indeed, while I remain curious about Preservation's research into the key, that is an investigation for another day. Then let's head straight to the back room. We should get everyone on the same page before we make our move. That one Oblivion member is just standing there doing nothing. Okay, we definitely need to cut the script dream here, though I don't know how long I have before my computer overloads its memory. So either way, until next time guys, take care, I'll see you all around. Next time is going to be Dungeon and Trial, definitely. We cleared out a lot today. So, yeah. Till next time guys, take care, I'll see you all around.